Welcome back, everyone, to the Barely News Crew. I'm your host here, as always, Alexis, and I am joined here by Peter Martinez.
Hello.
Another edition of the Marvel Project. This time, we're talking about Thor. Yep. I think it came out 2011? Yeah. Coming out somewhere in the area of 2011.
Yeah.
Thor talks about Thor and his origin story and where he comes from, and he meets Natalie Portman, and yes.
Thor. Why do you always make me start it off? I'm bad at starting it off.
You're not. Just...
Thor was one of the movies that was always going to be trouble for Marvel. Because it's a very weird character.
Not so much weird, but
he's
the world
a god.
that he lived. Well, okay, yeah.
From the sky, and he comes over to Earth on a rainbow bridge. And that's supposed to somehow connect to a world with Iron Man.
They dress and talk like Vikings.
Yeah. So it was...
And magic.
It was one of the films where people were like, Marvel's going to screw it up.
There's
like,
no
it's
way this could be good.
And it was pretty darn good.
It was good. Let's start off with performance. Chris Hemsworth as Thor.
He's
perfect.
Really good.
Perfect.
I kind of think of it as Tony Stark, where he's a bit of an a-hole, but he's charismatic, and you can tell he's a good person.
Yeah, but that a-hole quality kind of fades away towards the end of the movie.
But yeah, that's his arc, though.
Yeah.
You know, he goes from this arrogant, childish guy who wants to fancy himself greater and be this great warrior and leader, but his arrogance and anger gets in the way. And through being banished and his powers being taken away from him, he slowly learns to become a better person and, you know, not be such an a-hole.
Yeah, I gotta say, look, looking back on it and having watched it again recently, Chris Hemsworth's performance as Thor really did go a long way in helping bridge that divide between Midgard, Earth, our realm, and Asgard. And he really did help, I guess, normalize their whole society and culture and existence.
But here's where Marvel's trademark humor really helped them. Because if they had tried to play it like serious and this and that, it would have fallen apart.
It would have.
Because it's just really, it's ridiculous. Thor is a bit ridiculous.
There's no point in taking it seriously all the way.
So that's why, you know, whenever they play with these jokes, which are genuinely funny, whenever something from the world of Thor comes to Earth, and everyone's like, who are these guys? Kind of making fun of them. It's funny and it works, and it's something that if Marvel didn't have that in there, it could have seriously hurt the film and really the whole Marvel universe. But just because it's funny doesn't mean you don't take it seriously.
Oh no!
The drama between
is fueled by Tom Hiddleston's Loki, which is another really great performance and much more subtle in the beginning of the movie, and it kind of flourishes towards the end of it. But look, for Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston, their chemistry has always just worked. It always has. And from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, you completely get Loki's motivations and you buy the whole... That's really the drama that is driven in this movie, is the whole relationship between those two brothers.
And their father.
Yeah. Oh, and Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins as Odin. That's perfect casting. That's great casting. Well. I mean,
what? Marvel's been spot on.
No,
casting.
Part of why they're so successful is they made a concentrated effort to go after seasoned, established, well-respected actors. Renee Russo as what's her name? I forget her name.
Sif?
No. She was the mom.
Oh, yes. I knew her name too. It's on the tip of my tongue. I forgot it. Well,
we'll find out in Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
No, Lady Sif was actually portrayed by Jamie Alexander.
Yes, that's who it was.
And she's great as well. In fact, look,
I love her.
I'm such a fan of her. She was so underused in the sequel, and I think she's not really given her due as a character in these movies, to the point where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV show, brings her in once a season and gives her more of a character and more things to do. That's how sadly underused she is. And honestly, look, I always felt from the beginning, she's the character that needs to be with Thor.
Yeah, every time I watch a Thor movie, you're the first one, the second one, I'm like, Thor, you're fucking up. Like, who cares about this Jane character? Like, Sif is right there. Like, it gets me angry.
It gets me pissed off,
right?
Actually.
Like why are you wasting your time with this girl?
And I guess we now have to talk about Thor and Jane Foster. Look, giving credit where credit is due, their relationship in this film is a lot more authentic compared to what it was in The Dark World. Where in The Dark World, it didn't feel that... It felt more phoned in the Dark World.
Yeah, it felt a little bit more phoned in.
Here, it's not completely authentic, but you buy that these two have a genuine instant attraction for one another.
Yeah, you can see where, like, all right, you can see where these people start to fall for each other.
Yes,
or at least like each other. Not, like, fall in love. Where, like, they want to see where it goes.
Yeah, and Jane Foster is just completely infatuated by him because she is a scientist.
I would be too.
The Einstein Rosen Bridge or whatever they talk about, which is essentially the Bifrost Bridge.
I was thinking because of his abs, but...
No, but she's of course she's attracted to that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the intellectually speaking, she is really intrigued by what he knows, and she knows that he knows something, and it's as hard as it is to believe. She just can't stop herself from like wondering what's in his mind.
Pursuing.
And everything. Exactly.
She's a scientist. That's what they do.
To respect, we gotta give a lot to Jane and Darcy and Dr. Selvig because they're our lens, honestly. They're who we would be if out of nowhere Thor came out and like interacted with us. So I mean, in this movie, we got to give them credit for doing that and setting it up. And I think their interactions really work, and a lot of their scenes really help, make this movie realistic.
For those three, this is the film I like the most, and where they genuinely work.
And where they fit
in later
in.
films, they start to get a little jumbled.
Mm-hmm.
But here they fit in. The comedy is perfect, I would say. Like every joke, I think it lands. I'll chuckle like, oh, that's funny, that's cute.
Yeah.
So not so much for future films, but here it's where it really worked well. And like I said, the biggest negative I would give this film is just a lackluster love story.
Yeah.
But the thing that really makes you care about Thor and this whole world of Asgard and everything is the sort of three-way love triangle between Odin, Thor, and Loki.
Yeah.
you could basically call it that.
Yeah.
They're two sons really competing for their father's love. And Odin's a kind of a shitty parent. I'm gonna come out and say that.
Yes, he is. Especially when he basically said, "Yes, Loki, the only reason you're my son is because I wanted to use you to bridge two civilizations
obviously
together."
he still loved him and stuff like that. But it was...
How would you feel if your father told you, "Oh, the only reason you're my son is because I wanted to use you"?
But that's great, though, because you understand where every single character comes from. You understand where Odin comes from, where he's reasonable. Right. Like,
you see,
he's a harsh parent, but you understand where he's coming from.
Right.
Loki, his entire plot, really, unlike the Avengers, wasn't to take over the world. He didn't want to do that.
I mean,
he just wanted the approval of his father. Yeah. And I think
he killed his biological father to get the approval of his adopted father.
He didn't give a shit. He was, you're dead,
Yeah, you're dead.
That's how much.
I mean, even when Odin banishes Thor, you agree with Odin and his decision.
Yeah, like
because Thor almost brought about war.
Yeah, like screw him. You care about Thor and you like him, but it's like, no, dude, you messed up. And what at the end fight between Thor and Loki, where Thor's been through this transformative adventure, and he realized, like, you know what, sometimes war isn't everything. Sometimes you gotta like take a step back, assess the situation.
It really just sets in how wrong he was when he tries to lift the hammer after S.H.I.E.L.D. already put in that whole structure around it, and that's when he can't lift it up, and then he screams, and that shot with the rain falling down, that was a really great shot. Give a lot of props to Kenneth Branagh for making this movie. Kenneth Branagh has a background making Shakespearean movies, and it definitely showed in this film with the actors that he got. I mean, look, so Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, Anthony Hopkins, Rene Russo, Jamie Alexander, not Jane Foster, Natalie Portman, Stellan Skarsgård, and Idris Elba.
Oh, Idris Elba.
The talent. Idris Elba has Heimdall. I bought him as well.
And the reason why the movie works is because it takes the characters serious, but the world and the way it connects with Earth, they can be silly with it.
It is.
Because they understand.
Yeah.
Like, it's a silly
It's
concept.
silly, and we're
But
totally
the
going to own it.
characters are serious.
And by the way, how visually spectacular is Asgard?
It's really beautiful.
And
I forgot how it was. And I will say, it's visually, Thor and the world of Asgard is very different in this movie than in the future.
It is, yeah.
Because first of all, with Thor, I think they like dyed his eyebrows and his hair. Because doesn't he look kind of different?
There's different things with his eyebrows. There's just something different.
I like it. Asgard is very colorful. It's otherworldly, and it really harkens back to
and the Bifrost
the
is
original
amazing.
comics and the way that they were done. You know, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee.
Yeah.
The Bifrost. I love the giants and everything. But
the opening of the movie, the Nine Realms, of him explaining it. The Frost Giants, and then once whatever the history, and then this movie really works really well. Surprisingly so, because this movie should have probably, in all fairness, should have bombed.
It
considering.
And again, it's another very what's the word? I was gonna say low key, but that's.
Thank goodness Kyle's not here.
Yeah. Thank goodness. But it's not big
Thor's
and
up all
bombastic.
night to get Loki. That's what he would have said.
We're up all night to get time. We're up all night to get lucky. Loki, sorry.
I'd probably.
That's what he would have said.
There's probably 20 other things he would have said as well.
Yeah.
But it's a very small movie.
Yeah.
It takes place in this very obvious set of a town.
A small town, right?
Yeah,
New Mexico,
a small town,
very
New
small
Mexico.
town.
And it's a great parallel to the big and wondrous Asgard and all that. And like I said, the whole world really isn't at stake.
Yeah.
It's just
Which is a recurring theme in these Marvel movies.
This little
Phase
family
1.
drama.
Uh-huh.
It really is a great introduction to who this Thor character is and his journey into becoming a hero, basically. Yeah. And maybe one day a king.
Maybe one day a king. Anything else?
My favoriteest part of the movie is at the end when they're fighting, and it really encapsulates why I like this film. And Thor, you know, he's been through his journey, you know, he's become a better person, and Loki's kind of fallen farther into madness after finding out that he's a frost giant. And he says, like, I never wanted the throne, I just wanted to be your equal. And you know, and it speaks a lot to what these characters are and why you care about them.
My favorite moment is when Odin comes in to save Thor and Loki, and then Loki just lets go.
Yo, because he's like, I could have done it, father. He's like, no.
And then he just, no, and then he falls into and then he ends up, I guess, in the grip of Thanos' hand. I don't know, whatever. Well, thanks, Peter. This movie definitely has a cornerstone in Marvel's history, and it definitely set the stage for other out there movies like Ant-Man, Guardians, and perhaps Doctor Strange. That gives us the faith that they're going to do it well.
Yeah.
And until then, I'm Alexis. This is the Daily News for the Pitch for all things movie news and reviews. Remember to look for more Marvel Project videos, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I can make this song.